ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಂ ಗುರುರ್ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಗುರುರ್ವಿಷ್ಣು ಗುರುರ್ದೇವೋ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರ ಗುರುರ್ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಪರಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ತಸ್ಮೈ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರವೇ ನಮಃ. Okay, in Atmanipadi, one part he has given, singular alone he has given, I think. First, second person, first person. Only singulars. He goes in this way. This singulars alone he covered it. Now the Dvivachana and Bahuvachana of remaining persons, of all the three persons. అంటే మూడు పురుషర అంటే కంప్లీట్న ఏకవచన మాత్ర was given and Dvivachana Bahuvachana is covered in this chapter. Because learning all of them becomes complicated. So gradually, part by part we learn. Okay. But we have done already. We have, as a table, we have done the complete table. What one table we have done? Labhe, no, labhate, no, past tense alabhe, alabhata, alabhat, alabhata, alabhetam, alabhanta, alabhatah, alabhetam, alabhadvam, alabhavahi, alabhamahi. Okay, this. So we have seen that basic one. Now some more roots we have seen them. Dhvamsa. Dhvamsa means to perish. Already we learnt one dhatu which is nasha. Nasha to perish, dhvamsa to perish. So dhvamsate. Dhvamsa is Atmanepadi, but nasha is Parasmepadi. That is the difference. So to perish. Dhvamsa vaguvadu, dhvamsa maduvadalla. ಪೆರಿಶ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೇಮ್. ತಾನು ನಷ್ಟವಾಗುವುದು, ನಾಶ ಮಾಡುವಲ್ಲ. ಟು ಪೆರಿಶ್, ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್. ಇನ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ದ ಟು ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸಪರೇಟ್. ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ಆತ್ಮನೇಪದೇ ಈಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸೇ ಧ್ವಂಸತೆ. ಧ್ವಂಸತೆ, ಧ್ವಂಸೇತೆ, ಧ್ವಂಸಂತೆ. So then past tense advamsata, advamsetam, advamsanta, like this remaining. Then passive voice if you say dhasyate, dhasyate, allave, is made to perish. ನಾಶವಾಗುವಂತೆ ಮಾಡು. ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಮನ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್. ಈವನ್ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ intransitive verb in akarmaka dhatu also can be used in passive. That's why I am telling dhasyate. Dhasyate means made to perish. Made to perish means destroy only. It indirectly means destroy only. Dhasyate. Okay, that's it. Next word, man. Man with ava. Man is a fourth gana. Atmanepadi. Manyate. Man andre to consider, to disregard. No, to consider. Man means to think or to consider. I think, has it come before? Man manyate.
Gan has come.
Man bandilla. Man manyate means to consider, to regard. Man manyate. Hindi mein manta hai. Ade same thing. Manyate. Andre to consider or to regard. Man manyate means to consider or to regard. Bhandarkar, page 65. Man manyate, to consider or to regard. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಗಣಯತಿ we have told it. ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಪರಿಗಣಿಸುವುದು. ಗಣಯತಿ, no, ಗಣಯತಿ ಕೌಂಟಿಂಗ್, ಪರಿಗಣಯತಿ is considers. ಪರಿಗಣಿಸು. ಅದೇ ಮನ್ಯತೆ ಪರಿಗಣ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. Parigana or man vande. But here he is not using simply man manyate. He is using avamanyate. Avamanya, apamanya. Appa andre away from it. Ava means less than it. Considering less means grading, degrading. D andre considering is lesser than it. considering it is as less than it is called ava. ಅವಮಾನ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅಪಮಾನ ಇದೆ. ಅಪಮನ್ಯತೆ, ಅವಮನ್ಯತೆ. Both generally means only disrespect, but slightly technical difference. Avamanyate, apamanyate. Manyate is to consider or to regard or respect. Ava and apa, both are man. Okay. So ava generally means in that avatarana, what does the ava means? Down. So ava means, man means to consider, to regard down. Regard apa means away, means what is a usual regard, what is usual respect, adakkinta away. Away andre opposite it. Away means something opposite. So this means it is disrespect, it is less respect.
Disrespect, less respect.
First is less respect. That is, both ultimately mean disregarding. That's why sometimes apamana, avamana, these noun forms are familiar in Indian languages. Avamana, apamana. Now in mana, man is the dhatu. Mana, avamana, apamana. Avamanyate, apamanyate. In man indale mati bantu. Man, manaha, mind has come, mind thinks. Mati, like that. So avamana, apamana, avamanyate, apamanyate. Now he is using avamanyate. He disregards it. Avamanyate. Okay. Man dhatu alone, man mananam comes. Mananam chintana. Man manyate, to consider, to think also. To consider, to think. Man manyate means to consider, to regard, to think. Therefore mananam means to thinking. Mantavyaha, it should be thought of. But mantavya means in Hindi people apna mantavya means his thought, his view, his vaktavya, his statement. His vaktavya means a statement. Mantavya means his feelings, his thoughts. See how the man dhatu alone is there in all these forms. Mantavya, अपना मंतव्य देता है, अपना मंतव्य बोलता है, means what he feels. Means स्वमतिम प्रकटयति. मति ಅಂದರೆ his ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ. ಮತಿ means man, to think, what he thinks. ಸ್ವಮತಿಂ ಪ್ರಕಟಯತಿ ಅಂದರೆ ತನ್ನ ಮತಿಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರಕಟಿಸುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಮತಿ ಅಂದರೆ ತನ್ನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ, ತನ್ನ ವ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರಕಟಿಸುತ್ತಾನೆ. अपने मंतव्य का प्रकाश करता है. हिंदी में मंतव्य they call it. Mananam, mantavyam. With a slight variations, it comes from the man dhatu. Okay, next. Mantra. Mantra with ni. This nimantran is unfamiliar to South Indians, but in North India it's a commonly used. In fact, simply ahvana, they don't use it. They call nimantran dena. Ahvana is a common word used in South India for any respectable, polite invitation, calling invitation with a respectable one. उसको निमंत्रण बोलते हैं. निमंत्रण मिला है, निमंत्रण देते हैं. निमंत्रण देना है, उस कार्यक्रम के लिए निमंत्रण देना है. कोई भी बड़ा फंक्शन हो उसके लिए निमंत्रण देते हैं. अथवा ना उनको निमंत्रण मिला है, ऐसा मीन्स एन इन्विटेशन. निमंत्रयते, मंत्र 10th conjugation. ಹಿಂದೆ ಬಂತು, ಬಟ್ ನೀ ಉಪಸರ್ಗ is added here. ಮಂತ್ರಯತೆ, to tend, to take care of has come before. Mantra means to tend, to take care of. Mantra we have seen already. So idakki ni is added now. Nimantra. Nimantra. That means nimantrayate, nimantrayete, nimantrayante. Past tense ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಇದು ನೀ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮಂತ್ರಯತ, ಅಮಂತ್ರಯತ. ಇದು ನೀ ಆ ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಯಣಾದೇಶ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತದೆ? ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯತ. ಅದೇ ಒಂದು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮಿಕ್ಕದು ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್. ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯತ. ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಉದ್ದದಾಗ್ತದೆ. ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯತ, ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯೇತಾಂ, ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯಂತ, ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯಥಾ, ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯೇಥಾಂ, ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯಧ್ವಂ, ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯೇ, ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯಾ, ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯಾವಹಿ, ನ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಯಾಮಹಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮೃಷ. ಮೃಷಕಿ ವಿ. V is the sixth conjugation. Therefore, with V upasarga, it becomes a Vimrushati. Vimrushati form is well known to us through Vimarsha. Vimarsha ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. That's why, as I told you, we say, oh, Sanskrit is a dead language, we don't know, and we can't learn, we can't understand. I told you, it's already there. They deliberately kept it as if it is a foreign language. We just don't know. Oh, ಅವ್ರು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. In Telugu, when you don't understand what he says, and you know, they use it. ಅವರು ಬೈಯುತ್ತಾನೆ ಎನ್ನುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಬೈಯುತ್ತಾನೆ ಎಂದರ್ಥ. ಅಥವಾ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥವಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಅವರ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಟ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ ಇನ್ಸಲ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ವೇ. ಅವರ್ ಫೆಲೋಸ್ ಆರ್ ಶೇಮ್ಲೆಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ವಿ ಆರ್ ವರ್ಸ್ ದನ್ ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ ಎನಿಮೀಸ್. ಅಲ್ಲ, we have borrowed terrible our enmity. So V plus Mrusha. Mrusha, sixth conjugation. Therefore, this Mru doesn't take guna. Sru, Sarati, Sru becomes a Sarati if it were first gana. First gana. Since it is a sixth gana, Mru doesn't take, though there is a chance for taking Gunadesha, it doesn't take. Therefore, it becomes Mrushati only. So, Vimrushati. Vimrushati. But in noun form, Mru becomes Mar. Vimarsha. As I told you in all our places. In noun form, it changes. Pravesha, same thing. Pravishati, Vish alone remains in verb. In noun form, Praveshaha it becomes. In noun form it takes guna, but though guna, there is a chance for guna, in verb it doesn't take. In noun it takes. If you remember this much, it becomes easy. In sixth gana. So, praveshaha noun. Vimurshati, vimarsha. Vimarsha ಮಾಡುವುದು ಅಂದರೆ criticizing, analyzing. It is not only criticizing, analyzing, examining. So he says vimrushati. Testing, examining, he says. Means it is a vimarshisu, parikshisu ಎಂದರ್ಥ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನಿಂಗ್, ಅನಲೈಸಿಂಗ್. ಟೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳುವಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನಿಂಗ್, ಅನಲೈಸಿಂಗ್, ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಪೀಪಲ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ಲಿ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಲ್. ಇನ್ ಎ ಜನರಲ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್, ಅನಲೈಸಿಂಗ್, ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ವಿಮೃಶತಿ. ಇದು ವಿಮೃಶತಿ ನೋಡಿ, ವಿಮರ್ಶನೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಪರಾಮರ್ಶತಿ ಅದು ಇದೆ. उसका परामर्श करते हैं. हिंदी आल्सो ऐसे परामर्श. ಸೊ ವಿಮೃಶತಿ, ಪರಾಮರ್ಶತಿ. ಇನ್ನೇನು ಸಮ್ಮರ್ಶ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸಮ್ಮರ್ಶ ಅಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ವಿಮೃಶತಿ, ಪರಾಮರ್ಶತಿ, ಬೋತ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಾಟ್. ವಿಮರ್ಶ, ಪರಾಮರ್ಶ. ಮೃಷ ಧಾತು ಇದ್ದೇ ಇದೆ ಎರಡರಲ್ಲಿ. ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋನ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್. ಓನ್ಲಿ ಯು ಟೀಚ್. That's thing we have tried. I think it did not work. We should have done it. ನಾನು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, somebody should. Why waiting for somebody? We ourselves should start. Today only we will start. When I review my previous lessons, today we will start with this. What are the worms? ಧ್ವಂಸ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಗೊತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲವೇ? ಧ್ವಂಸ ಪದ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಧ್ವಂಸ ಪದ ಒಂದು ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡೆ. ಐ ನೋಟೆಡ್ ಡೌನ್. ಮನ್ನಿಂದ ಮತಿ, ಅವಮಾನ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ? ಅವಮಾನ, ಅಪಮಾನ, ಮನ್ಮತಿ, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಡಿರೈವ್, ಆಲ್ ದೋಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ದೆನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಿಮಂತ್ರಣ. ನಿಮಂತ್ರಣ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ಹಿಂದಿ, ಆರ್ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ. ಇನ್ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್. ನಿಮಂತ್ರಣ ಇದೆ ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ? ಓ, ನಿಮಂತ್ರಣ, ಆಮಂತ್ರಣ ಇದೆ. ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. In Telugunalli it's ಇಲ್ಲವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Nobody uses.
ಅವರ ನಿಮಂತ್ರಣದ ಮೇರೆಗೆ.
That means you are using it. In Telugunalli it is totally none. So I say it is there in Kannada. I note down it. It is there in Kannada. In Telugu nimantrana word doesn't exist at all. Okay, vimrushati, vimarsha. You start with vimarsha word. So starting point should be vimarsha. Vimarshadinda you start going it. First vimrusha, divide it. Teach sandhi. Without sandhi Sanskrit cannot be understood. So vimrusha dhatu becomes vimarsha. What is vimarsha? Examining, analyzing. What do you say? Criticizing, examining, analyzing that. So v plus mrusha, vimrushati dhatu. Then paramarsha. Paramarsha means consulting. Consulting not just this thing, a little more detail. That detailed consultation. That is called paramarsha.
Detail examination.
Detail examination is a paramarsha. Like that. ಹೀಗೆ a familiar word we should take it. Then ಅದರ ಪದ ವಿಭಜಿಸಿ you break the word, it's upasarga and etc. and then derive what are other forms. That way, through already familiar word, you come to the unfamiliar word. That becomes easy for people, easy to remember. That way, you teach, I think more than 50-60% of Sanskrit you get it, a little more, then you can add it. This a kind of book is required. This makes a person familiar with. Okay, next. Vimrushati, testing, examining. Vimrushati, it being a sixth conjugation, what is the past tense of it? So, miki amrushat aguttade. So, V becomes then guna, yana desha. Vyamrushat, vyamrushat, vyamrushatam, vyamrushan. That's all. Vyamrushat, vyamrushatam, vyamrushan.
Why is he given here Atmanepadi matra?
That doesn't matter. Some of them he covers extra. Probably he used a passive form. Then you recognize it. Vimrushyate. Vimrushyate. No, that is also true. Vimrushyate, vimrushyate, vimrushyante. Passive wise ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ವ್ಯಮೃಶ್ಯತ, ವ್ಯಮೃಶ್ಯೇತಾಂ, ವ್ಯಮೃಶ್ಯಂತ. That also. Probably he must have used passive wise. Or sometimes the old should not be forgotten. We should continue to learn what we learned. Therefore, next ram. Ram andre ramisu, anandisu. Ante to feel happy. Ram to feel happy. It is a ram we have done it kridayam. Ramate kridayam. Rama, ram ramate. Atmanepadi. It's a first prathamagana, first gana. Earlier meaning was given kridati, in playing. Now the same dhatu you taught again, a new meaning is taught. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರಮಿಸು అంటే ಆನಂದಿಸು. ರಮಿಸುವುದು ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗಿ ಆನಂದಿಸುವುದನ್ನೇ ರಮಿಸು. ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆನಂದ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಳುಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಆನಂದಿಸು. You totally get absorbed into it and then deeply enjoy is called Ramana. Otherwise, not simple happiness is not called Ramana. That's why people say we have thoroughly enjoyed it, we have deeply lost ourselves in it, we forget ourselves. You lose yourself, you forget yourself, that kind of a deep happiness, anything. It can be, we apply it to all many experiences in life, like playing and thinking and this thing, manywhere, Ramate. Ramate. So Ramate, Ramete, Ramante, we know it. Its past tense is Aramata, Arametam, Aramanta. Then Ramyate, passive voice. Ramyate, Ramyete, Ramyante. Then passive past Aramyata, Aramyetam, and so on. Now next is, this also I think Rama pada ide. Ramisuva pada ide. Rama. ರಮಣಂ ಪದ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ರಮಿಸುವುದೇ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ರಮಿಸು, ಓಕೆ. ವಿರಾಮ, ವಿಶ್ರಾಮ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ವಿರಾಮ, ವಿರಾಮ ಇದೆ. ವಿರಮಿಸು, ಕೆಲಸ ವಿರಮಿಸು. I think if you note down this list separately and all these things, you keep on writing a book and it becomes easy for people. Well, I think we expect everything for others and I think there is nobody to do. We alone have to do. The Hindus are not interested at all. If somebody does it, they just use it. They want to become more consumers. Then Lajja. Lajja is again sixth gana, Atmanepadi. So Lajjate. Lajja means to feel ashamed. ಅಂದರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ? ಲಜ್ಜತೆ, ಲಜ್ಜಾ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಡೋಣ. ಲಜ್ಜಾ ಪದದಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದ ಇದೆ. ಲಜ್ಜಾವಹ, ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದ ಅಂದರೆ ಲಜ್ಜೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಶೇಮ್ಫುಲ್, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಕೇಸ್ ಫಿಟ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಫೀಲ್ ಅಶೇಮ್ಡ್. ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದ, ಲಜ್ಜಾವಹ ಅಂದರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಲಜ್ಜೆಯನ್ನು ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಲಜ್ಜಾವಹ, ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದ ತೆಲುಗಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಹಿಂದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಲಜ್ಜಾವಹ ಹೇ, ಆವಹ ಅಂದರೆ ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡುತ್ತದೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಲಜ್ಜೆಯನ್ನು ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡುವ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಲಜ್ಜಾವಹ.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ
ನಾಚಿಕೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಬಳಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಲಜ್ಜೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಅಷ್ಟು ಉದ್ದದ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಲಜ್ಜಾವಹ ಒಂದು ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದಂ ಅಂದರೆ ಕಾಮನ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಸಲ್ಲ, ಲಿಟಲ್ ಮೋರ್ ಎಜುಕೇಟೆಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚಸ್ ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್. ಅವನು ಅದರ್ ಪದ ಇದೆ, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಾಟ್. ನೀವು ನಾಚಿಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಾ? ತೆಲುಗಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗ್ಗು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಸಿಗ್ಗು ಪಡದಾಗೆಂದು. ಓಕೆ, ಹಿಂದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಉರ್ದು ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್, ಶರಂ, ಬೇಶರಂ, ಶರಂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ. Our lajja Sanskrit but they use little educated. Otherwise, in normal spoken thing they use the word like sharam, besharam. Sharam, besharam pada hele alave. Sharam illa, besharam hai. ಬೈಯುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಶರಂ ಬೇಶರಂ ಹೈ ಎಂದು ಬೈಯುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದೇ ಥರ ಶರಂ ಕರೋ, he doesn't feel ashamed for what you are doing. ಅದೇ ಶರಂ ಕರೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ, there is only Urdu, whatever. ಓಕೆ, ಲಜ್ಜ. ಸೊ ಪರಸ್ಮೈ ಸಿಕ್ಸ್ತ್ ಗಣ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆತ್ಮನೇ ಪದ. ದೇರ್ಫೋರ್ ಯು ಸೇ ಲಜ್ಜತೆ, ಲಜ್ಜೇತೆ, ಲಜ್ಜಂತೆ. ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲಜ್ಜತ, ಅಲಜ್ಜೇತಾಂ, ಅಲಜ್ಜಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದ, ಲಜ್ಜಾವಹ ಪದವೇ ಇಲ್ಲವಾ? ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರಾಂಥಿಕದಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಇಲ್ಲವಾ?
ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದವಾದ
ಆಫನ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಓಕೆ ಇದೆ.
ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದವಾದ ಕೆಲಸ,
ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸಾಕು. ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದ ವಾದ, ಆಸ್ಪದ ಅಂದರೆ ಆಧಾರ. ಮೇಕ್ಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಲಜ್ಜಾ. ಅಂದರೆ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡನ್ ಸಚ್ ಎ ವರ್ಕ್ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ರೂಮ್, ಇಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಯು. ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದ ಅಂದರೆ ಲೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಶೇಮ್. ಆವಹ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಆವಹತಿ, ಲಜ್ಜಾವಹತಿ, ಲಜ್ಜಾವಹ, ಲಜ್ಜಾಸ್ಪದ ಎರಡೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅರ್ಥ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಲಜ್ಜಾಕರ, ಲಜ್ಜಾಂ ಕರೋತಿ, ಲಜ್ಜಾಕರ, ಕರೋತಿ ಹೇಳಬಹುದು. ಅಥವಾ ಲಜ್ಜಿತ್ ಹವೆ, ಹಿಂದಿಯವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಲಜ್ಜಿತ್ ಹವೆ. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಲಜ್ಜಿತ್ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಪಾಪಡ್ ಇದೆ, ಪಾಪಡ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇದೆ, ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಲಜ್ಜಿತ್ ಪಾಪಡ್.
ಪಂಜಾಬಿ ಕಂಪನಿ
ಲಜ್ಜಿತ್ ಪಾಪಡ್. ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ಆ ಲಜ್ಜಿತ್ ಪದ ಮೇ ಬಿ another word, I don't know, maybe it's a Urdu word. Some words are similar. That's why Lajjit nobody uses.
Even now it's a big brand.
Big brand Lajjit. Lajjit huve. Lajjit huve ante felt ashamed. Little more granthik word in Hindi. Lajjit huve. I think through Sanskrit we learn all Indian languages. It become very close. That's why I told you, learn one Sanskrit, you can understand other words easy. See, when I was speaking, we were speaking, that Italian boy was sitting here when I was discussing in that talks. And then I told you, can you understand? It is totally Kannada. But still you are using Sanskrit words, I am able to understand. He said. That's why I told you, you learn Sanskrit, you can understand any Indian language. It becomes easy. ದೆನ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧ, ಇದು ಯಾವ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗಣ ಆತ್ಮನೇಪದಿ, ಪ್ರಥಮ ಗಣ ಆತ್ಮನೇಪದಿ. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧತೆ, ಸ್ಪರ್ಧೇತೆ, ಸ್ಪರ್ಧಂತೆ. ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಸ್ಪರ್ಧತ. ದಿಸ್ ಅಸ್ಪರ್ಧತ, ಸ್ಪರ್ಧೇತ, ದಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ. ನೌ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧ ವರ್ಡ್, ನೌನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧ is prevalent in our languages. Spardha is a competition, rival. See, Spardha is rivalry, competition. Spardha. In North Indians they openly call it Spardha only. Pratispardha, Spardha. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಸ್ಪರ್ಧೆ, ಸ್ಪರ್ಧೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಸ್ಪರ್ಧೆ ಇದೆ.
ಸ್ಪರ್ಧಾ,
that's all.
ಸ್ಪರ್ಧೆ,
So,
ಪ್ರತಿಸ್ಪರ್ಧೆ.
ಇದು ನೋಡಿದ್ದರೆ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ವರ್ಬ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ವಿ ಪ್ಲೆಂಟಿ ಆಫ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್. Anyway, ಸ್ಪರ್ಧಾ ಪ್ರತಿಸ್ಪರ್ಧಾ. ಸೊ ಟು ರೈವಲ್, ಸ್ಪರ್ಧತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಹಿ ರೈವಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಹಿ ಕಂಪೀಟ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ವೇ. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ರಂಸ. ಸ್ರಂಸ ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ರೈವಲಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಘರ್ಷಣ ಆಗುವುದು, ರಬ್ಬಿಂಗ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಹಿಮ್, ದಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ. It is simply not in this thing, it's a spardha, fighting against little kind, a kind of a little what you call gharshana also comes. Innondu sramsa. Sramsa also first gana and atmanepadi. Sramsate, sramsete, sramsante. Then asramsata, slipping down, allave, dropping down or slipping, dropping, anything you can say. Slipping or dropping, slip down or drop down. He used drop down, but slip down is better. So ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ have you read Bhagavad Gita? ಗಾಂಡೀವಂ ಸ್ರಂಸತೆ ಹಸ್ತಾತ್ ತ್ವಕ್ಚೈವ ಪರಿದಹ್ಯತೆ. ಗಾಂಡೀವಂ ಸ್ರಂಸತೆ ಹಸ್ತಾತ್, ಹಸ್ತ ಪಂಚಮಿ ವಿಭಕ್ತಿ, ಹಸ್ತಾತ್ ಗಾಂಡೀವಂ ಸ್ರಂಸತೆ. ಗಾಂಡೀವಂ is the name of his dhanu. So mama ಗಾಂಡೀವಂ, ಹಸ್ತಾತ್ ಸ್ರಂಸತೆ is slipping down. ಗಾಂಡೀವಂ ಸ್ರಂಸತೆ ಹಸ್ತಾತ್ ತ್ವಕ್ಚೈವ, ತ್ವಕ್ಚ ಏವ, ತ್ವಕ್ ಸ್ಕಿನ್, ಮೈ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಈಸ್ ಪರಿದಹ್ಯತೆ. ದಹ ದಹ್ಯತೆ, ದಹತಿ ದಹತಃ, ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ವೈಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದಹ್ಯತೆ, ಪರಿ ಉಪಸರ್ಗ ಈಸ್ ಆ್ಯಡೆಡ್. ತ್ವಕ್ಚೈವ ಪರಿದಹ್ಯತೆ. ಗಾಂಡೀವಂ ಸ್ರಂಸತೆ ಹಸ್ತಾತ್ ತ್ವಕ್ಚೈವ ಪರಿದಹ್ಯತೆ. ಸೊ ಮೈ ತ್ವಕ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಬಿಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಬರ್ನಿಂಗ್, ಮೈ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಈಸ್ ಬರ್ನಿಂಗ್. Paridashyate is burning, my skin is burning, and Gandiva is slipping down from my hand. So that Bhagavad Gita uses more of philosophical terms, but otherwise language is simple and beautiful. Bhagavad Gita's language is very beautiful language. So if you can have patience to tolerate those philosophical terms, the ideas are also directly Atma, Paramatma, Jagat and all that. Those ideas, if you can tolerate, I mean those who want to learn Sanskrit, Bhagavad Gita uses a beautiful expressions, idioms, addresses, sentences. It uses beautiful expressions. Gandivam sramsate hastat. Ali he says, after seeing my, how does it start? Swajanam hi, seeing Acharya, Pitraputra, Tathaiva cha Pitamaha, having seen these people, my change happens in these things. Having seen it. Atavyavasthitan drishtva dhartarashtran kapidvajah pravritte shastra sampate dhanurudyamya pandava Rishikesham idamaha mahipate. Arjuna says, Arjuna, come and see these people. Arjuna ellaranu see ಮಾಡಿ, he says, now he says another thing is my head is reeling, he says. For that, I forgot the shlokas. Gandivam sramsate hastat tvakchaiva paridashyate nacha shaknomi avasthatum bhramativa cha me manah. Nacha shaknomi, shaknomi means I am not able to stand. Nacha shaknomi avasthatum, avasthanam, stha tishtati ke ava upasarga. Tum shabda you have not studied, so it will come later in this book alone. Nacha shaknomi avasthatum, avasthatum na shaknomi, I am not able to stand. Bhramati ivacha me manaha, my mind is reeling as if down, my head is reeling as if down, tala tirugutta ide. Iva bhramati ivacha me manaha. See, ade Gandivam sramsate hastak takchaiva paridahyate. See, it is a good for singing also. So the beautiful tune and words are joined in it. When you can break the words, those are familiar with Sandhi, it's easy to break and join them. It becomes easy. Then you can see them how the words smoothly flow and the idiomatic expressions and the idea. That's why they say Sanskrit has a beauty. Cohen-Rodell says,
Swamiji, that's what I wanted.
recently,
After class, I don't have questions.
okay, no, I don't want, I'll just touch and leave it, I don't want to say. He's vehemently arguing that Sanskrit is a dead language. What Pollock says is correct. And you people are unnecessarily refusing to accept it. And he
Since
says,
the time of Panini, nothing is borrowed from other language into Sanskrit. Since the time of Panini, you have not changed your style.
the thing is, all these accusations imply only one thing. All these accusations imply that he says Kalidasa's time alone it is a dead language. Panini's time alone dead language. Kalidasa wrote books in dead language. Now tell me, now this shows that you have a one fixed definition of dead and living. What is dead and what is living? All these accusations are very unfair because he is keeping a one particular definition and accusing us. But that definition doesn't count for us. We see that it is useful. It is useful with a slightly borrowed form, slightly modified form or type. So, and here another argument he says, it is not borrowed from others. It has not modified the forms. Like Vibhakti, etc., it has not changed. Now, earlier there was a Pali, Prakrit, there were 14 types of Prakrits in each state. They were all derived from Sanskrit. So each Prakrit has modified from Sanskrit. It took freedom of usage. So whatever common men used, they used. They adopted some of the, like in Tulsidas Hindi, they adopted certain Urdu words, Persian words. They have adopted from other words. And also the forms they have changed. Vibhakti forms they have changed. Kriya forms they have changed. Okay. If you keep on changing, now what is the fate of Pali and Prakrit now? What is the fate now?
They have
Dead. Say that dead. They are dead. So those by borrowing and modifying, they have become dead. Sanskrit, but not borrowing, this alone is alive. And now you say that Sanskrit is a dead language. Idi ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ವಾಲನ್ನು ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳುವುದು ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಪರ್ಸನನ್ನು ಡೆಡ್ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳುವುದು ಇದು ಉಲ್ಟಾ. Problem is, therefore, one person is trying to argue and then Cohen-Rodell is abusing him. Abusing means harshly is telling, you just don't know anything and you are talking and all those things, it's a dead language. Shallan Pollock is correct and you are doing all this because it has not borrowed a single word. That shows that it is self-sufficient, it has not borrowed, it did not feel the need of it and borrowed. Okay, English by borrowing. Can you read Shakespeare's English? Tell me, without commentary, without footnotes, without explanation, you can't even read it. Now, what is the use of borrowing and killing your own ancestral literature? All pre-century, and 2 centuries ago, 3 centuries ago, within 1 century, 2 century, language changes. The old language you will not be able to understand. In another 500 years, Shakespeare in English will become another Latin and Greek, totally dead and nobody can understand. Then all Shakespearean literature will be retranslated into the latest English language. Old language will be lost. Now, you mean this is called a living language? That means, no, we are not against you. We don't want to quarrel you. He is a great scholar and very good debater. I cannot win. Nobody can win, I think, with him. He is a good debater. But we can only point out that your definition of a living and dead language is totally different. If it borrows, then only it is a living language. The liveliness of a language, the livingness of a language consists only in borrowing words from other languages. If the language doesn't need to borrow, see, if you take bank loan alone, we consider you as a human being. If you have not borrowed money, if you have not borrowed from your friends, if you live with your own income, whatever income you get it and you don't borrow, what kind of man you are? You have not borrowed singly from our bank. It's an insult. You are insulting our bank. You have not borrowed money from our bank. You are just open the account and whatever money you earn, you are putting it in our account and you are taking your own money. You have never borrowed our money. So therefore, we consider it as a dead account. Those who borrow from us and then pay what you call interest, then we'll consider as a living account, a living person. You are a dead human being. Now you accept, yes, I am a dead person. Yeah. So people should not argue with him. What we understand from all your argument is your definition of dead and living changes. Living language can be called a dead language can be called a living language. By borrowing, English has changed. By borrowing, all our Prakrit languages have disappeared, and they are living languages. Because Pali is a living language, Prakrit is a living language, because they disappeared. By borrowing, modifying and borrowing, they disappeared. Sanskrit is not modified after Panini comes. Panini fixed the form. It is not modified. If few words it is borrowed. Who says it is not borrowed? It is borrowed also. It has borrowed some words. So, and he says, he is telling, oh, not borrowed. There are, you can see the many words borrowed. So, but Sanskrit is capable of borrowing. But when it borrows, it applies its own vibhaktis and makes it into a Sanskrit word. Many words it has borrowed. And he says, you borrow few words. Simply borrowing it and putting Sanskrita vibhaktis and making it to Sanskrit is not borrowing. Borrowing means Sanskrit should deform its face. Sanskrit in a original rupa should deformed. It should look like another language. Then it is a living language. Chennagi the definition. So that we should lose touch with our ancient literature, our Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, Puranas and Vedangas, all our Ayurveda Shastras, everything we should become unable to understand our own language, our own Sanskrit. Then what will be achieved by doing that? Sanskrit becomes a living language. That means what? Sanskrit is already dead. That is called living language. Why is it trying to do that? Stubbornly talking.
Stubbornly making the argument again and again.
No. Our people are also trying to argue. I say, instead of arguing, these people, as I read it, I think read one or two messages, instantly I understood. He is giving a different definition. Catch that definition instead of arguing, reply. Oh, we understood that you have got a different standard. Different definition of living and dead. Different standard of measuring what is dead and what. But we have got our own measure of living and dead. According to our measuring, it is living alone. Isn't it? What is in use, it is living. Use is not only in speaking, even some people speak. It's a different ways it is used. There are different ways of its usage. And it is helping our life and culture. It is enriching our life and culture. In sciences, in Ayurveda, or even many other places, when it is useful, new rachanas are going on. New writings, even Vedanta and other subjects, it has been written, even poetry, kavya, vyakarana, it has been written. And it is 50 to 60% of it is part of in Indian languages. Therefore, it is enriching our languages. So these are all the few ways in mantras and literature and even rituals, we have been using it. Therefore, proverbs we use them. Niti Shastras we use, even now we use a lot of Niti Shastra. So in all these ways, Sanskrit is in use. Our definition of living language is when it is in use, both in reading, writing, and also, in learning, in its usage. Its usage, it is relevant to our life and culture. And by this definition, Sanskrit is a living language. If you have a different definition and you impose that you are not accepting Sanskrit is a dead language, you are fanatic and all those things, this we can't accept. You give your own definition and you want us to conform to your accordingly we should accept Sanskrit as a dead language and English is a living language. See.
Why should we accept his linguistic definition?
His definition. Not even linguist, personal definition. No linguist. Even linguists have given it as a wrong definition. Isn't it? See, you should adopt a new word. Why that criterion for the living? It may adopt according to the need. See, one fellow borrows from bank, one fellow borrows from his friends, another fellow without borrowing he'll use. You mean he's a dead fellow? He's not borrowing money from us? What does it mean? This fellow never buys in our market. I've got opened a shop. He never buys from my shop. He buys from another shop, or he will manage with his own money. He will not buy from my. Therefore, he is a dead person. You call him? No. This fellow never came to our jail. Therefore, he will be considered dead. He has not committed a single crime. He should commit crime and come to our jail. Then only we consider him as a good human being, as a good citizen. He never committed a crime, never came to a jail. We don't consider him as a living person at all. He never used a law, isn't it? You never used a law. You never came to the court. You never came to the court. You never went to jail. You never underwent any punishment, even for 1 year. Therefore, you are not following our law. If you follow our law, you should have come to at least once or twice to jail and by committing crimes. This is the kind of definition there. It's ridiculous. Okay. That's why instead of arguing, see his stubborn definitions.
ಸಂಜೆಯಿಂದ
Okay.
ಇವತ್ತು ವಿಶ್ವ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ದಿನ.
Ivatta?
12th August.
Okay. Who declared it?
I don't know.
On what?
ಕ್ಯಾಲೆಂಡರ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದೆ.
On what basis?
ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ.
Oh, 12th is ಶ್ರಾವಣ ಪೌರ್ಣಿಮಾ.
ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಪ್ರತಿಪದ.
ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಪ್ರತಿಪದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧವಿಲ್ಲ.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ದಿನ ಅಂತ ಏನಂತ ಇವತ್ತು.
on what basis? ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಪ್ರತಿಪದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೇನು ಸಂಬಂಧವಿಲ್ಲ. ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಪ್ರತಿಪತ್ is the time people change ಯಜ್ಞೋಪವೀತ and start ವೇದಾಧ್ಯಯನ. It is just learning Veda, not learning Shastras. Shastradhyayana is a different day. I think, okay, whatever they do, let them do. Anyway, someday they are. But why Sanskrit day? You let people learn Sanskrit and let all days be Sanskrit days. We want all days to be Sanskrit. Okay, for some people. It's good, at least they are doing that. It's good. We are not discouraging it, we are not criticizing it. It is good. For those who do not know Sanskrit, okay, let them come into Sanskrit at least through this Sanskrit day. But for us, all days are Sanskrit day. There is no day I don't read Sanskrit books. I don't think in Sanskrit. I don't think in Sanskrit and read in Sanskrit. There is no day passes. Every day we think of Sanskrit and read of Sanskrit. That for us, Sanskrit is not a day. Sanskrit is a life. Okay, Spardha, Srams ಆಯಿತು. Then Hasa with Hasana, Hasa with V. First conjugation, first gana and parasmaipada. Hasati, Hasataha, Hasanti. Okay, Vihasati. See, Hasa is to laugh. Vihasati means parihasa. Parihasa, Vihasa. ಈ ಪರಿಹಾಸ ಪದನೂ ಅದೇ. Parihasati. Vihasati means to laugh in contempt. In English it says. To laugh in contempt. Vihasati. ಅಂದರೆ ಪರಿಹಾಸ ಮಾಡುವುದಂತೆ. ಪರಿಹಾಸ ವಿಹಾಸವಂತೆ. ಸೊ ವಿಹಸತಿ, ವಿಹಸತಃ, ವಿಹಸಂತಿ. ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ವೈಸ್ ವ್ಯಹಸತ್ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್, ಸಾರಿ ಮೊದಲು ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ವ್ಯಹಸತ್, ವ್ಯಹಸತಾಂ, ವ್ಯಹಸನ್. ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ವೈಸ್ ವಿಹಸ್ಯತೆ, ಹಸ್ಯತೆ, ಜನೈರ್ ಹಸ್ಯತೆ. ಜನರು ನಿನ್ನ ನೋಡಿ ನಗುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಜನೈರ್ ವಿಹಸ್ಯಸೆ, ಯು ಆರ್ ಲಾಫ್ಡ್ ಎಟ್ ಬೈ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಜನೈರ್ ವಿಹಸ್ಯಸೆ, ಲಾಫ್ ಇನ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಲಾಫೆಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸಾಕು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಲಾಫೆಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಈಗ ಅದು ಪರಿಹಾಸ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಜನೈರ್ ವಿಹಸ್ಯಸೆ, ವಿಹಸ್ಯಸೆ, ವಿಹಸ್ಯಂತೆ, ವ್ಯಹಸ್ಯತ, ವ್ಯಹಸ್ಯೇತಾಂ, ವ್ಯಹಸ್ಯಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಸರ್ಟನ್ ನೌನ್ಸ್ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಓಕೆ, ಅನಿಷ್ಟ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಈವಿಲ್ ಆರ್ ಕೆಲಾಮಿಟಿ. ಈವಿಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕೆಟ್ಟದು, ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕೆಟ್ಟದು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಈವಿಲ್ ಅನಿಷ್ಟ. ಅನಿಷ್ಟ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಷ್ಟ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಸೈರಬಲ್, ಅನಿಷ್ಟ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ಡಿಸೈರಬಲ್. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಡಿಸೈರ್ ಅನ್ಡಿಸೈರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬಾರದು. ಡಿಸೈರಬಲ್ ಅನ್ಡಿಸೈರಬಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಹಾರ್ಮ್ಫುಲ್ ಎಂದರ್ಥ. ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಈವಿಲ್ ಆರ್ ಕೆಲಾಮಿಟಿ. ಅವಧೀರಣ. ಅವಧೀರಣ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ಅವಧೀರಯತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಅವಧೀರಣ. ಡಿಸಬೇಕ್ ಸ್ಲೈಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ರಿಪಲ್ಸಿಂಗ್, ನಿರಾಕರಿಸುವುದು. ರಿಪಲ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಚೆಚೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡೋದು. ಚೆಚೆ, ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಕೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್. ಡಿಸ್ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್, ಅದೇ ಡಿಸ್ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಅರ್ಥ. ಅವಧೀರಣ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ರಿಗಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ? ಅವಧೀರಣ, ಅವಧೀರಣ ಅಂದರೆ ಡಿಸ್ರಿಗಾರ್ಡ್, disrespect and all such thing. Okay, then next is asura. Asura is demon. Asura bahuvachana he is using, asuraha bahuvachana he is using. So demons are enemies of gods. Aropanam. Aropanam means not only imposing. See, ruha rohati ide allave, adaralli planting he says. Bijaropanam. Bijaropanam means planting of the bijas. ಅದರಿಂದ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಸೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬೀಜಾಸ್. ಇದು ಬೀಜ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆರೋಪಣವಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಅಕಂಪನಿಡ್ ಬೈ ವರ್ಡ್ ಬೀಜ. ಬೀಜಸ್ಯ ಆರೋಪಣಂ, ಆರೋಪಣಂ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬೀಜ, ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಸೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬೀಜಾಸ್, ಸೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬೀಜಾಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ಉಪದೇಶ, ಅಡ್ವೈಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎ ಕೌನ್ಸಲ್. ದೆನ್ ಕಬರಿ. ಕಬರಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ನೀವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ವೇಣಿ. ವೇಣಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನೀವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕಬರಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಹೇರನ್ನು ಹೆಂಗಸರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಜಡ, ಜಟ, ಜಡೆ. ಜಡೆ, ಆ ಜಡೆ ಹಾಗೆ. ಕಬರಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಜಡೆ. ವೇಣಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವೇಣಿ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ವೇಣಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಜಟಾನೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಜಟ. ಜಟ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಸುತ್ತುವುದು. ವೇಣಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ವುಮನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವೇಣಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ವೇಣಿ ಅಥವಾ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ಜಟ. ಆ ಜಟಾನಿಂದಲೇ ಜಡಾದಿಂದಲೇ ನೀವು ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರು ಜಡೆ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ಟರು, ತೆಲುಗಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಜಡ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಕಾರ್ಯಂ, ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್, ವರ್ಕ್, ಕಬರಿ. ದೆನ್ ಗಂಧರ್ವ. Karyam is an action, that's a clear. Gandharva, an individual of a class. All the Gandharva ki Gandharva kal. All that is for foreigners. Grahanam, capture. Grunhati, taking or capturing. Taking and holding ಎರಡು ಬರುತ್ತದೆ. ಗೃಹ ಧಾತು ಗ್ರಹಣಂ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅದು ಏನು ಚಂದ್ರಸೂರ್ಯ ಗ್ರಹಣ. ಗ್ರಹಣ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರಿಂಗ್, ಹೋಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್, ಕ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಎಂದರ್ಥ. ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಗ್ರಹಣಂ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್, ಹೋಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್. Choraha. Earlier Stenaha has come, now Choraha. Then Jalam. Jalam andre net. Jalam. जाल में फंस गया ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಜಾಲಂ ನೆಟ್. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ ಜಾಲ? ಜಾಲ, ನೆಟ್. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪದಾಸ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಲರ್ನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಜಾಲಂ ನೆಟ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಭಂಡಾರ್ಕರ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ, ಆಲ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್. ಈ ತೆಲುಗು ಕನ್ನಡ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ಡ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. You don't have to learn. That's why I told Sanskrit need not be taught as a separate language. One paper, part of your Kannada. All mother tongues, Indian mother tongues. Your mother tongue becomes enriched and you also know Sanskrit. Nobody will complain and don't have to worry about this thing as separate language. That is the biggest problem. So Grahanam is capture. Grahanam, you say Surya Grahanam, Chandra Grahanam, all Grahanam. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಗ್ರಹಣ ಮೋಚನಂ. ಮೋಚನಂ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿಡ್ ದರ್. ಮೋಚನ, ಗ್ರಹಣ ಮೋಚನಂ. ಹಾಗೆ ಜಾಲಂ. ಜಾಲಂ ಸೆ ಜಾಲ್. Immediately padas are not coming, but jala is there, is used in our usage. Then Jyotsna. Earlier Chandrika has come. Chandrika and Jyotsna both mean beladingalu, moonlight. His moonlight is telling. So Kaumudi also has come. Chandrika banta. Kaumudika, Chandrika will come later. Kaumudi, Chandrika, Jyotsna. You can write all the three mean the same thing. Kaumudi, Chandrika, Jyotsna. Chandrika is the name of the soap, one Ayurvedic soap. Chandrika is the name of a soap. Jyotsna is the name of a girl. And then Kaumudi
is also name of a
girl is okay. Kaumudi is a grantha, Vyakarana grantha. Kaumudi, Lagu Siddhanta Kaumudi. So Kaumudi, Vyakarana Kaumudi, we call them. Kaumudi means all this moonlight. Beladingal. Beladingal means it illumines, that's idea. Okay, Jyotsna. Okay, Tyagaha. Tyaga means leaving. Grahanam is catching, Tyaga is leaving. Okay, leaving or abandoning. Okay. Darshanam. Darshanam is sight. Darshana is seeing. Dushkruta. Dushkrutam. Dushkruta andre a wicked action. Papa. Sukruta Dushkruta. Amopata samasta durita. Durita Dushkruta, same thing. Dushkrutam. Krutam is karya, kalasa. Dushkrutam keta kalasa. Bad action. Bad action means papa. Dushkrutam is papa. Sukrutam punya. Sukrutam Dushkrutam. And what you say that good karma, bad karma. That is Dushkrutam and Sukrutam. Nayakaha, a leader. Nayaka already we have said Neenayate. From Neenayate, Nayaka. Neta ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, Neta also come from the same thing. Rukaranta pada have we studied? Not yet. Oh, will come, I'll tell you. Okay, Nayakaha. Param. Param is avyayam. However, but. Param. However, but. Then Pantha. ಪಂಥ ಅಂದರೆ ದಾರಿ. ಪಂಥ ಮಾರ್ಗ. ಪಂಥ್ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಪಂಥ್ ಅಂದರೆ ವಿವಿಧ ಪಂಥ, ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕ ಪಂಥ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಪಂಥ್ ಅಂದರೆ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್ಸ್, ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ಲೈನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಪಾಂತಃ ಎ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲರ್. ಪಾಂತಃ ಎ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲರ್. ಎ ಪ್ರಾಚಿ ಈಸ್ಟ್. ಪ್ರಾಗ್ ದಿಶಾ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಾಕ್ ದಿಶಾ. ಪ್ರಾಕ್ ದಿಕ್ ಅಲೋನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಚೀ ದಿಕ್. ಇದು ಫೆಮಿನೈನ್ ರೂಪ. ಪ್ರಾಶ್ನಿಕಃ. Prashnika is an examiner or a questioner. Examiner or questioner. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಾಶ್ನಿಕ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನರ್
ಕ್ವಶನ್.
ಅಂದರೆ ಹೂ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಎ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಎಂದರ್ಥ. ದೆನ್ ಬಲಂ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್. ಬಲಂ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಮಿ ಕೇಮ್. ಅರ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆರ್ಮಿ, ನೌ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್. You can just note down so that you remember that, whether this meaning or this meaning according to the context. Balam can mean army, balam can mean simple strength. Okay, bijam. Aropanam earlier has come. Bijasya aropanam. Bijanam aropanam. Okay, seed. Bhupah, a king. Nrupaha, we already studied. Now Nrupaha, Nrupatihi. Now the third word is Bhupaha. Nrupaha, Nrupatihi, Bhupaha. Third word. Then Ramanam. Ramanam means one who revels, one who enjoys. Is called a lover or a husband. Ramana. Ramana, where is that? See, Ramana word is confusing, you see. Ramana Maharshi is there. And then our Hindu fellows, I don't know why they get confused. They call it Venkataraman. Venkataraman Allah, these fellows have created. It is Venkataramana.
Correct.
His name is Venkataramana. Ramana Maharshi himself told his name is Ramana. In Telugu, in Indian languages, we call Ramana. They put it in English into Raman. Rama ಶಬ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ರಾಮನ್ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ, ರಾಮನೂ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ವೆಂಕಟರಾಮನ್ ಎಂದು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು. ವೆಂಕಟರಾಮನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈಸ್ ಎ ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ ಹಿಸ್ ನೇಮ್. ಪೀಪಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಾರೆ. ರಮಣ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ಹಿಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್, ಇದನ್ನು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಗ್ರಂಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಹೆಸರು ರಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ರಾಮ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದರು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಲ್ಲವೇ? ಮಹದಿದಂತಪೋ ರಮಣವಾಗಿ ಯಂ. ಇದು ರಮಣ ವಾಕ್ ಯಂ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಿದ. ಇದು ರಮಣ ವಾಕ್ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಿದನೇ ಹೊರತು ರಾಮ ವಾಕ್ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ. ರಾಮವಾಕಿಯಂ ಅಂದರೆ ಆವಾಗ ಅದು ಹಿಸ್ ನೇಮ್ ಈಸ್ ರಾಮನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಿತ್ತು. he himself stated his name is Ramana, not Rama. But people say Venkataraman. They just ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ರೊಟೀನ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಹಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ ಅಂದರೆ ವೆಂಕಟ ಇಸ್ ಅ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅದ್ರಿ, ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್. ವೆಂಕಟಾದ್ರಿ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ರೆವೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್, ಎಂಜಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಹಿಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಸ್ಟೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ. ರಮಣ. ರಾಧಾರಮಣ. ರಮಣ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ ಆಫ್ ರಾಧಾ. ರಾಧಾರಮಣ, ಸೀತಾರಮಣ. ಹಾಗೆ ರಮಣ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಒನ್ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ಸ್, ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಹಿ ಲವ್ಸ್ ದೆಮ್ ಎಂದರ್ಥ. whomever you love, you enjoy their company. If you don't love, then you will feel restless in their company. Enjoys means what? He loves their company ಎಂದರ್ಥ. means he is compassionate, he is loving to Radha. Therefore Radharamana. So Ramana, one who enjoys, or a lover, or a husband. Okay, Viryam. ವೀರನ ಭಾವವು ವೀರ್ಯ. ವೀರನಾಗಿರುವುದು ವೀರತ್ವ. ಆ ವೀರತ್ವವೇ ವೀರ್ಯ. ವೀರನಾಗಿ ಇರುವುದು, ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಎ ವೀರ. ಹೀರೋಯಿಸಮ್, ಬ್ರೇವರಿ, ವ್ಯಾಲರ್. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಟೂ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ವೀರತ್ವ, ಪರಾಕ್ರಮ, ಧೈರ್ಯ. ವೀರ್ಯಂ ಅಂದರೆ ಹೀರೋಯಿಸಮ್, ಬ್ರೇವರಿ. ಸಚಿವ, ಎ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್. ಸಚಿವ, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ Kannadigas more you use it, so Kannadigas are more familiar than other people. Sachiva. Sachivyam means, Sachiva means one who accompanies, one who goes with him. Anyway, Sachiva Mantri, I have taken it as a correct. Samuha, a multitude. Samuha means a group, a crowd, a multiple. I think Magitu. You have taken long time. Oh, still you have time. No, nothing to worry. I thought you were getting late. So I was rushing so that we are getting late. So all these words, see how familiar they are. That's why I told vocabulary. Otherwise, for us, he didn't say vocabulary. He told any grammar point, you know, ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಬಾ. Each word I am reading because we can see them relationship with Indian languages. That's why I am reading vocabulary. Generally, they don't read vocabulary. ಏನಾದರೂ ಗ್ರಾಮರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ they will tell and then just go and translate. Vocabulary is there, you go and translate. ಇಮಂ ಪ್ರಾಶ್ನಿಕಮುದ್ದಿಶ್ಯ ತರ್ಕಜ್ವರ ಭೃಷಾತುರ ಸುರೇಶ್ವರಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಸೇಸ್ ಇನ್ ನೈಷ್ಕರ್ಮ್ಯ ಸಿದ್ಧಿ. ಪ್ರಾಶ್ನಿಕ, ಎ ಕ್ವಶ್ಚನರ್, ಇನ್ ಎ ಡಿಬೇಟರ್. ದ ಅದರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಹಿ ಪುಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಕ್ವಶ್ಚನ್ ಟು ಯು. ಪ್ರಾಶ್ನಿಕ, ಒನ್ ಪುಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಪ್ರಶ್ನ ಮಾಡುವವನು ಪ್ರಾಶ್ನಿಕ. ಅದು ಆ ಅರ್ಥ. ಪೃಚ್ಛತಿನಿಂದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ. ಪೃಚ್ಛತಿ ಬಂತಲ್ಲ, ಪೃಚ್ಛತಿನಿಂದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ, ಪ್ರಶ್ನದಿಂದ ಪ್ರಾಶ್ನಿಕ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನರ್. puts a question and examines you, your test. It tests you, examines you how much you know and how much you don't know. A person who examines by putting a question is called prashnika. Imam prashnika muddishya tarkajvara bhrishachuraha. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೈಷ್ಕರ್ಮ ಸಿದ್ಧಿ. Okay, I think anything else to be told? Anything we have done fast? You can say. I think we have given sufficient time to everything. Ram ramate ramana. Okay, ಗಂಧರ್ವ. ಓಕೆ ಪಾಂಡವ ರಾಜ್ಯಂ ಅವಿಂದಂತ. ಪಾಂಡವ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಸರ್ಗಲೋಪ. ಪಾಂಡವಾಹ ರಾಜ್ಯಂ ಅವಿಂದಂತ. ಅವಿಂದಂತ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವಿಂದ. ವಿಂದತೆ ವಿಂದೇತೆ. ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅವಿಂದತ. ಅವಿಂದತಃ ವಿಸರ್ಗ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅವಿಂದೇತಾಂ ಅವಿಂದಂತ. ಗಾಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಅಲಭಂತ. ಅಲಭಂತ. ಪಾಂಡವಾಸ್ ಗಾಟ್ their kingdom. Got back their kingdom. When after killing Duryodhana and all this thing in the war. ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಆಚಾರ್ಯಾನ್ ಶಿಷ್ಯ ಅಭ್ಯವಾದಯಂತ. ಶಿಷ್ಯಾಹ ಆಚಾರ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಭ್ಯವಾದಯಂತ. ಶಿಷ್ಯಾಹ ಅಭ್ಯವಾದಯಂತ. ಸ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯಸ್. ಸಚಿವ ಭೂಪಮಭಾಷಂತ. ಓಕೆ. Ministers spoke to the king. Okay. So some Vyakarana points in the footnotes he has given, you may read and then I'll tell if there is anything else. We'll tell in the next class. Sanskrit to English and English to Sanskrit. Okay. I think with this it will be over. We'll be getting Ukaranta Shabdas like Guru Shabda. We have learnt Rama Shabda, Hari Shabda. Now we have to learn the Guru Shabda. Guru, Guravaha. Ukaranta Shabdas. I think in between due to my ill health and then something else, lot. I think more than 1 week.
Almost 10 days.
10 days appa. We had a gap. I think hereafter at least we will not do. We'll finish it as early as possible. First book finish ಮಾಡಿದ್ದರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ, then we can continue with other classes. I think we'll continue regularly. My ill health created a problem. Even now I have just recovered. I am able to sit now. It's good. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.